Good morning, everyone. Welcome to 9 a.m. devotionals on Monday morning. I'm Celia Rathis, and I'm the director of Children and Family Ministries. Those of you that watch me each and every week probably get tired of me saying that, but that's for the new people. Who knows? There might be some new people joining us this week. So if you are new, welcome. Glad to have you. Let's get started. I've got a lot to cover today. So I feel like with this background, I feel like I'm like having real talk, let's get down to the nitty gritty of life and figure out what's going on and how we can best live into our faith. So I say that skeptically, but that's really what we're doing today. So strap in because it's going to be all right. So this week, today, in the meditation moments, we are covering, you'll be reading 1 Kings chapter 3, verses 5 to 15. I'm not going to take the time to read that to you guys, but please do read it. It shares the story of God visiting Solomon in a dream and asking Solomon, what do you want? Now, those of you that know the story know that King David was Solomon's father. What crazy big shoes to try and fill. And Solomon knew that was not going to be the case. And yet he knew also, he held that, oh no, what am I going to do? With also the, God, you placed me here. So I'm going to do your will, but I need your help. And so he asked for, what did he ask for? What was that? Say it louder. He asked for wisdom. What a really awesome thing to ask for. He could have asked for longevity. He could have asked for to be the most beloved king ever. He could have asked for fame beyond his father. I mean, he could have asked for wealth, all of these things. And yet he paused, he reflected, and he was like, what do I need most in order to lead these people well? And so he asked for wisdom. How cool is that? I just love that. I think maybe I find it so cool because I know in his shoes, in Solomon's shoes, I probably wouldn't ask for wisdom. I'd be like, God, can I have more shoes? It's just like something stupid, And yet Solomon had the wherewithal to ask for wisdom. And I want to bring up another verse, 1 Samuel chapter 30, verse 6. It's actually about a horrible story that happened to King David, Solomon's father. And King David found himself in a horrible tragedy and caught between his people who were ready to mutiny and were angry beyond belief because of their grief. And yet David paused and he found strength in the Lord. And so I want to encourage you with that. Find strength in the Lord. What does that look like for you? Solomon found strength in the Lord. He paused in that moment and said, how can I do this job well? And so he asked for wisdom. How can we do our life, our job in life well? We need to pause and reflect on that. Strengthen yourself in the Lord. This last week, I was doing a bit of reflecting myself. And I came across someone who I had gone to school with, undergrad with, did not know him personally, but he recently died in a tragic car accident. And while reading an article, with his best friend and everything else, one of the things that I found out about him was that his go-to phrase was, you get to. And so he was a football coach, but apparently he had this in his mentality for a long time. He played football himself and in sports in general. And so he was thinking of these ways of, I get to do this. You get to. And so he would use it a lot with his team. You get to play football. You get to come to practice. You get to work hard and do your best. And I love that mentality because oftentimes we overlook the things that we are doing in our lives. And we say, oh, isn't life so hard? Oh, we're in this pandemic. When is it going to end? It's just horrible. Oh, woe is me. And we kind of drag our feet and we're heavy laden. But go back to what I just said. What did that verse encourage us to do in 1 Samuel? Strengthen yourself in the Lord. Strengthen yourself in God. What are those things in your life that you get to do? What are those things in your life that you feel heavy, burdened, but when you look at it through that frame, it actually lifts you up. It actually gives you joy and momentum into the beginning. So I actually took that to heart. And so I made a list. I'm a list maker, love lists. I probably make 5 a day. So, yep, that's my life. But I wanted to share these things with you because I want this list. I want the list that I made for myself to propel you to make a list for you. I want you to do that this week because it's going to reframe, restructure those things in your life that you used to view as burden, that you used to view as things that were weighing you down, that you didn't want, that you wanted to say, take them off of my shoulders, or I can't take it anymore. And so I started with lighthearted things because I needed to do that. And then it is a short list, but you can make yours a long list. You can keep it ongoing. And I encourage you to do that. But the first one's, I get to watch hummingbirds play. I get to eat good food when my roommate makes it, because I hate cooking. I get to sleep in a comfy bed and dream crazy dreams. I also get to do some tough things. I get to camp and wake up to rain seeping through my tent. Not fun. Cold rain, mind you. I get to figure out how to adapt children's ministry to fit within the structures of this pandemic, the restrictions of this pandemic. I get to do that. I get to, and this one was hardest for me to write down, I get to watch my mother's journey with cancer. I get to do that. I get to see all the blessings and all the hardships. I get to do that. And then the next 3, I was like, where can this move me? I get to share Jesus's love for others through smiles and laughs and joy. I get to know that God is bigger still than all I can ask or imagine. I get to let my light shine brightly for all to see. I get to do these things. These things are me and my life. What are those get to things in your life? Make a list. Share it with others. Cry through it if you need to. We get to do hard things. We get to lift others up. We get to love them. We get to share our faith. Be encouraged in those things and say, I get to do this thing. The weekly memory verse is John 15:11. So I'm going to flip to that in my Bible. John 15:11, and it says this. I have told you these things so that you will be filled with my joy. Yes, your joy will overflow. Wouldn't we all wish to have joy that overflows? So why don't we? Yeah, you filled in the blank. I know you did. Why don't we? Because, well, there are riots. There's unrest. People are frustrated, angry. We're living in a pandemic. We can't do the things that we want. We make up excuse after excuse after excuse. And I'm not saying that those things aren't validated, because those are big, hard things. But what I am saying is that we can choose joy. I get to choose joy. I get to still hold on to all those hard things, but I get to live in this time. I get to be alive in 2020. I'm not regretting and hopeful that 2020 never happens and that I can forget this time. No, because God has shown me so much of his goodness during this time. I get to repeat those things to yourself. The verse again says, I have told you these things so that you will be filled with my joy. Yes, your joy will overflow. What things do you get to do? This week, I have a family activity for everyone to do. This is not just a family activity. It starts off, I want everyone to have fun. Do a sink or swim challenge. I love this. I love doing this with kids because 9 times out of 10, they're right. But every once in a while, there's something that we do that's like, oh, wow, I didn't see that coming. And it's a surprise. And I love surprises. So in sink or swim, this game that we do, you get a bin, tub, whatever, sink, and you fill it up with water. And then you grab things randomly around the house and you throw them in the water and see if they sink or they swim. Now, again, it can be anything as long as it's okay to be in water. Please don't, grab your phone and throw that into the water. But just see, have fun, share laughs. This is all about being joyful and having fun. But after that, I want you all to discuss something big that can take the form of something small. Take an empty cup and stick it under a running faucet. What happens? It overflows. Our verse tells us today that our joy will overflow. God tells us and fills up our cup with joy to overflow. So that cup represents us, and it's empty to start with because we don't get our joy from worldly things. We get our joy and our strength is in the Lord. And so that faucet that is full of living water, Jesus said he's living water. And that cup is filled and it overflows. That joy overflows. Now, take that cup, empty it out again, start over. But this time, have cups underneath you. What happens when you fill up your cup through the Lord and it's overflowing with joy? See those other cups start filling up? Who are those cups representing in your life? Are they family? Are they friends? Are they coworkers? Are they strangers? Are you doing yourself a favor by not filling up your cup with joy from the Lord? Are you serving all of those people around you when you don't fill up your cup with joy for the Lord? I challenge you this week to really focus on that. I challenge you to make a I get to list. Think of Ben Jones when you do those things. Ben Jones left this world a little too early. He was only 30 years old, and yet he understood something so crucial. He got to do so much. We get to do so much. So do it. Focus on those things. Do the next thing. We get to do hard things. This last weekend, I loved hearing Carrie talk. Now, I didn't catch her last name, but she's a friend of Stacy Franco's, and she's a number 7. We talked about number 7s. And she made a couple of I get to statements, and I couldn't believe it. She said, I get to find pieces of God in others. I get to find pieces of God in others. I love that. I love that. God lives within all of us. So shouldn't we be searching for that? She also said, I get to take what God is doing in my life and celebrate it. I get to take what God is doing in my life and celebrate it. That means the good things, the hard things, the things you'd rather give away, throw away. We get to do the hard things. We get to do and live this life to bring glory to God. So I hope that you find that today and always. I love you all. Thank you. Take care. God bless.